net control. Traffic they were holding until the start of the net. If so, please come now. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And the question of the night is, what was the first music album you purchased? Be it vinyl, cassette, CD, digital, or 8-track. Depending on how far back you go, what's the first music album you went down and slapped your allowance on? And anyway, we'll find out. Let's see who's checked in so far tonight. Fine. We have KJ6ARR, German George in Scottsdale via email. He got his question correct, as did JR2FJI, George Japan, who's attending a function tonight. Actually, he's doing a commercial, so he couldn't be here. And you have N6MOT, Little Island, Monterey, California, KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego, and KK7HLD, Portland via email. We also have KG4BUT, Grayson, our Usenet controller in Lauderdale, Florida, KD6EIR West in Grants Pass, Oregon, VK2DY, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia, JR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, KD5AJZ, Alex in Pasadena, Texas, K8BYU, Roy in Blasdell, New York, KN6JLX and KN6JLW, Larry and Stephanie in Oak, California. Let me drop. KE5MUX, Teresa in College Station, Texas, KC2JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York, and KI7ZRI, Dunwick, Washington. Anyone else like to play full call sign phonetically twice, please? Kilo Juliet 7, Romeo Victor Bravo, KJ RVV, Ray and Cody, Wyoming. KK7 OGC, Kilo 7, Oscar Golf Charlie. Victor Alpha 3, Delta Foxtrot Golf. Victor Alpha 3, Delta Foxtrot Golf. Kilo Lima 5, X-Ray Papa. That's Kilo Lima 5, X-Ray Papa. Hold on a second, folks. We're having connection problems. I'm not hearing half of you. Either that or it's going to be a very slow, quiet net. Anyway, hang on a second. Okay, I think Vicky got everybody connected up again. Calling again, check-ins for the starting trivia net, full call sign phonetically twice, please. And we did get KJ7, RVB, Ray, and Cody. Got you, Cody. And anyone else? Come now. Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Charlie Delta. Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Charlie Delta. Lewis in Magnolia, Texas. Kilo Lima 5, X-Ray Papa. That's Kilo Lima 5, X-Ray Papa. This is Mark in Fairbanks, Alaska. Victor Alpha 3, Delta Foxtrot Golf. Victor Alpha 3, Delta Foxtrot Golf. Jason in Oakville, Ontario. Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel. Whiskey 9 Delta Hotel. Whiskey
Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Alright, let's hold it there and let everyone get caught up. Here we have Alpha Check. KL5XP, Mark in Fairbanks, Alaska, I believe that's correct. DFG, Jason in Oakville, Ontario. W9DWH, David, Owensboro, Kentucky, welcome back. WD8, Bob in Sylvania, Ohio. ACR, AC4, ER, Brian in Monticello, Kentucky. And the KC5J, I know I got your call sign wrong again. Could you come back with one more time, KC5 station?
Hey Alex, can you also add me in? Looks like I got missed. I'm on the client tonight. Kilo Fox 6, Hotel Delta Juliet.
Got you in there, Brent, no problem. Alright, let's try to start at the top and we'll get all this corrected, hopefully. As we go along, we have, first up, Little Allen, Monterey, California, N6 MOT, question of the night. What's the first music album you purchased way back when?
Well, good evening, everybody. Alex, Little Al here, N6 MOT. Do me a favor, repeat that question of the day again one more time, please.
Yes, very first music album you purchased, be it CD, digital, vinyl, cassette, 8-track, whatever, that's the first one.
It would be a 45. I don't know if anybody remembers 45, but it would be a 45. And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Another Saturday Night by the Bay City Rollers. I don't know. I think that might be it. Anyway, and 6 MOT out here in Monterey.
Okay, well, we'll take the 45, but I was thinking album, but that's, you know, if you don't remember the album, we'll take the Bay City Rollers. And that took a lot of courage to admit that. If every single person in the world moved to South Africa, the population density would still be less than A, New York City, B, Tokyo, Japan, or C, a soccer stadium filled with Elon Musk's children. What do you say?
Oh, this is going to be a total random guess. But I'm going to go, I wanted to say a soccer stadium just for the heck of it. You know what? Let's go with it. What the heck? Let's have fun tonight. Was that C, soccer stadium? I'll go with that. You have a good night, Alex. N6 MOT. 7-3, everybody.
You know, I probably should have vetted this question better before I threw that in there, because probably not that many. It's Tokyo, Japan is still denser than if you put all the people in the world in the South. It wouldn't be as dense as Tokyo, Japan. They have a very high density rate, worse than Los Angeles. So anyway, thanks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Mike in San Diego, KN6, MIK, Mike. What's the first music album you purchased?
Good evening, Alex. MIK, Mike here in San Diego.
I'm still laughing over Bay City Rollers. My first album, of course I was listening to the Beatles. I borrowed some neighbors' albums, but the first one I purchased, I believe, was Electric Ladyland, Jimi Hendrix, 1968. Go ahead, Alex. I'll take my question.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's nobody at that point. A black man wasn't singing like that and doing rock, and just amazing. You know, no Motown, but really good rock music. Thank you, Mike. Your question is: unknowingly, humans have created a protective bubble around the Earth that helps to shield the planet from solar flares and harmful radiation. This bubble is caused by A, chemtrails, B, VLF radio waves, or C, flatulence from cattle, which is causing the big bubble in the atmosphere.
No, Alex, I think I'm going to go with B, but it might be C. Let's go with Bravo. Can6 MIK. Pleasure, Alex. Back to you.
Yep, it's chemtrail. No, you got it. It's the VLF radio waves. Yeah, the very low frequency waves complement the protective properties of the magnetosphere. Hey, there we go. Hey, there's something good for our hobby. Did we get that low? Probably not. Thanks. Thank you, Mike. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD. What's that first album that you purchased way back when? Or maybe recently, I don't know.
I would say it was a while ago. Let's see, that would be Rubber Soul, actually, was the first album I bought. I think I bought a couple of 45s with it as well. Back to you there, Alex, and thanks for the great net.
Yeah, this little album, we bought a lot of 45s, you know, until that first album, and then I think, mine was Green River by Creedence Clearwater Revival. It was $3 at Kmart. I put up my allowance and bought that album, and my mother was worried sick that I was going to buy some hippie acid drug-induced psychedelic album, and she heard that, and boy, was she relieved. And normally that would be the kiss of death for a group if your parents actually like the album you're playing, but I knew that they were a crossover group, people like country like she did, and liked them in folk rock and everything. So anyway, your question is, most places in the southern United States named Lincoln were named after A, President Abraham Lincoln, B, General Benjamin Lincoln, or C, John Lincoln Rockwell. What do they name all those places in the South after?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I gotta say though, CCR is pretty cool. And I was listening to the Beatles and a lot of other stuff on my mom's radio. So, yeah, you're there. I guess I'll just randomly say B because I don't have a clue. Thanks again for the great net, and thanks to whoever's doing your wonderful logging today, KK7HLD.
Yep, we got Vicky K8 VKY at the log tonight, a good thing because we got a few problems that she cleared up really quick. So you're correct. Yeah, it was most of the places in the southern U.S. named Lincoln are named after B, General Benjamin Lincoln. He was a Revolutionary War hero. Not too many places at that time were named after Abraham Lincoln for obvious reasons. Thanks, Dave. You got it. All right, Grayson, Orlando, Florida, our Friday Night Youth Net controller, KG4BUT. How you doing, Grayson? Have you purchased any music albums yet? And if so,
else listening. Yeah, I have to go with none on that one.
Oh, you're not grooving out to the new, yeah, it's okay. I didn't buy one until I was 13 or 14, so. Okay, Grayson, your question is, say, Grayson, you like movies about gladiators? What does the word gladiator mean in Latin? How's your Latin, Grayson? Does gladiator mean A, servant, B, swordsman, or C, slave? What do you think?
Let's say Bravo.
Yeah, I couldn't fool you on that one, huh? Yeah, it's swordsman. Yeah, gladius is a Latin word for sword, so a gladiator would be a swordsman. And they, like some of the movies depicted, isn't all like that, obviously, but they were highly respected and they could fight to win their freedom. So they were the rock stars of the day, I guess. But tough way to earn a living. It's worse than traveling back. Anyway, thanks. Thank you, Grayson. This is W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Wes in Grants Pass, Oregon. How you doing, Wes? KD6EIR. This could be interesting. What was your very first music album you purchased? Need to be lose Oregon again. Wes, KD6EIR.
KD6EIR.
Now you're coming in wall-to-wall entry. I'm not supposed to say that. All right, Wes, question of the night. What was the first music album you purchased?
I'm embarrassed to say. It wasn't an album, it was a single. It was the Monkees. One side was I'm a Believer, and the other side was I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. And I got it for blue chip stamps. That dates me, doesn't it?
Well, despite the fact it was the Monkees, I mean, like, they had some pretty darn good songs. Remember, they didn't write them like I think John Stewart wrote Last Train to Clarksville. Was that the one he wrote, or one of the other ones? No, Daydream Believer. Yeah, he wrote that one, and so they had people writing, and then those backup bands, the Crew, I think it is, they were called. They were doing these good songs and letting the Monkees sing them. So yeah, nothing to be embarrassed about at all. TV show was silly, but then so were the Beatles early on. Thanks. Thanks, Wes. Okay, your question is, who was the famous American gangster that escaped from jail using a wooden gun? Was that A, John Dillinger, B, Al Capone, C, Bugs Bunny?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't think Bugs escaped with the wooden gun. I think he'd shoot a carrot into the shape of a gun. But I'm gonna say Dillinger, just because it's funner to say Dillinger than the word Capone.
Yeah, it's Dillinger. Dillinger was right about Bugs Bunny too. I see we are from the same era there. I remember that cartoon. Also, yeah, he made a wooden gun, and it looked real enough that he used it to escape from jail. Now, that's creativity. It's yeah. Anyway, thanks, Wes. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. First music album you purchased? I think that was when you're in the States. So which one did you grab?
Good afternoon, Alex. It's Robert VK2DY. I think I purchased some singles before this, but the first album I purchased that I can remember is Pink Floyd, Uma Guma, VK2DY.
Well, you're starting up right with that's, yeah, okay, your question is, this film had a production budget of $400,000. As of its 50th anniversary this year, it's made $5.7 million. Which 1975 movie are we talking about? A, Jaws, B, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or C, let's see, oh, C, Super Vixens. Which one are we talking about there, Robert?
The choices again, Alex. Sorry, I got distracted. It's a Sunday afternoon here. VK2D.
Yeah, no problem. We'll go over it again real quick. The film had a budget of $400,000, and as of this year, 50th anniversary, it's made $5.7 million. A, Jaws. B, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. C, Super Vixens.
Something interferes there. That's a very good question, to which I don't have a very good answer to. So, being a Monty Python fan, let's just go with Monty Python. VK2DY.
What's your favorite color, Robert? Blue. No. Yellow. You are correct. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yeah, Jaws cost $11 million to produce and made $478 million. Quite a bit more. Whereas Super Vixens, filmed in Quartzsite, Arizona, by the way, cost $100,000 to produce and made $17 million. So there's more. I can't say that, but there's more of those in it than there are in a political convention. I believe it was Joe Bob Briggs' favorite film, and it was made right here in Arizona. Thanks, Robert. It's a W7 FTM listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, going next to Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, and W2AJR. How you doing, Andy? What's that first album that you purchased?
Doing pretty good, Alex. I just got my mind blown that Monty Python's only made $5 million. That seems way low to me. But anyways, first album is either Kiss Alive 2 or Ted Nugent's Double Live Gonzo. I can't remember which one came first. Back to you, Alex.
Wango Tango, and your question, Andy, is what a character. Your question is, long hair was banned by the Pilgrims because A, it was considered pagan, B, they were concerned about losing settlers to local Indian tribes, or C, they were concerned it would make their teenagers lazy and shiftless. What do you say, Andy?
How could you possibly make teenagers lazy and shiftless? Let me think. I'm going to say that one. I'm going to say C. I don't think the Indians at the time of the Pilgrims took scalps, so I'll say C, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's been going on a long time, that lazy and shiftless. No, actually, it was B. They banned long hair, the Pilgrims did, because they were concerned about losing settlers to local Indian tribes, but not by scalping. It was because several Pilgrims left to join the native Indian tribes. They said, the heck with this, and it was too difficult, and they went to live with the Indians. That was pretty much better conditions at the time, so yeah, they were concerned about losing them in that way. I probably should have worded that better. Anyway, thanks, Andy. Alex, Pasadena, Texas, KD5, AJZ. First music album you purchased, Alex?
Hello, Alex. Actually, I bought a lot of 45s, but the first album I remembering buying, because I think it was the first one I bought on cassette, was Santana Abraxas. I can't tell you the year, but that was a heck of a long time ago. Ready for my question, Alex?
Yep, got that one in the collection still. I think the wife fortunately had a copy of that because mine disappeared a long time ago. I remember the cover was kind of a 3D like cover, elaborate painting was really really a beautiful album art. But your question, Alex, is it's against federal law to do this with U.S. currency. A, use it to pay for the services of a lady of the evening. B, hide it from the IRS using cryptocurrency brokers. Or C, write on it. What's federal laws say you can't do with a currency?
Sorry, I had to wait for my little mini repeater there to finish its ID. Good question. I believe that A can't be true. B might be, but I don't think so. I'm gonna go with C. Just seems unlikely, but likely enough that C's are true sometimes. Enjoy the net as always, Alex. KD5, AJZ, back to you.
And that is the correct answer. Yeah, it's against federal law to write on U.S. currency. So all those bills you see where people write little notes on it or draw a mustache on Washington, or it's illegal. Not supposed to do that. By the way, if answer A was true, our government would grind to a halt, so to speak. Thanks. Alex, Roy in Blasdell, K8, BYU. Roy, what was the very first music album you purchased? Let me think. Tommy Dorsey? What was it, Roy?
The gathering gloom. Watch lights fade from every room. Bed-sitter people look back and lament. Another day's useless energy spent. Cold-hearted orb that rules the night removes the colors from our sight. Red is gray and yellow white, but we decide which is right and which is an illusion. Moody Blues, Days of Future Past, 11/17/67.
Well, Roy, we're going to need more detail than that. That's yeah. And by the way, I know that word for word too. It's because I've listened to it so many times. Yeah, it's a very famous album. Probably their best. Maybe. Thanks, buddy. Your question is, this actress tried out for the role of Scarlett O'Hara in the 1939 film Gone with the Wind, but was turned down. Who are we talking about? A, Betty Grable, B, Katharine Hepburn, or C, Lucille Ball?
Not sure. Yeah, let's go with Betty Grable. What the hey?
Yeah, I should have put like a decoy in there, like Monroe or Lady Gaga or something. But it was because any of those could have been it. But it's the one you'd least likely think, Lucille Ball. Yeah, tried out for Scarlett O'Hara. And she was a young, very good-looking brunette back then, before she changed her hair to blonde and then to red, and the rest is history. So, yep, she tried out for Gone with the Wind. All right, thank you. Thank you, Roy, Larry, and Stephanie in Elk Grove, California, KN6JLX, KN6JLW. Okay, first album for each of you guys. Which one?
Hey, Alex.
Alex, this is Stephanie, KN6JLW and Larry, KN6JLX. Believe it or not, his is the same as yours, PCR, Green River. Mine comes from a different era, doggy style. Go ahead with our question.
All right, Larry, were we at the same Kmart? Yeah, probably not. But and the funny part is that John Fogerty's voice, you listen to the lyrics on Green River, you can't understand half of what he's saying. For the longest time, I thought one of the lines, one of the lyrics were, "Old Truly came and took me over, said he's going to buy a rabbit's motor." I thought, well, that's strange, but it is the South. The bayou, maybe, I don't know. Of course, I looked it up later, but that's not what he said. Or he's saying, all right, your question is, you get the weird news trivia story of the week, guys. Okay, one of these headlines is true, the other two are fake. Okay, now you gotta tell me which one's the true headline. A, Apple warns China tariffs could negatively impact child slave employment opportunities. It's a mouthful. B, runaway kangaroo named Sheila shuts down Alabama interstate. Or C, wife beginning to suspect husband's thoughtful, relevant responses to her text might be AI generated. Which one of those is correct, guys?
And not smart, because he was in Spain. Thanks for doing the net, Alex. Have a good one.
A little bit of inference. One more time, and one more time with your album too, Stephanie. I missed that.
Our answer is Bravo, and I don't think you want to know my album, but it was Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg.
Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg. I missed that one. Thanks, guys, and you are correct. Yeah, the true headline there is runaway kangaroo named Sheila shuts down Alabama interstate. I'll go over this quickly. A runaway kangaroo named Sheila shut down a stretch of interstate in Alabama on Tuesday before state troopers and the animal's owner wrangled the wayward marsupial. The Alabama law enforcement agency said the kangaroo was spotted Tuesday hopping along the side of Interstate 85 in Macon County, between Montgomery and Auburn. When somebody said there was a kangaroo, of course, I didn't believe it, and nobody believed it. But I'm looking at him, said Macon County Sheriff Andre Brunson, and the animal was captured and just barely escaped becoming a roadkill meal for some lucky residents. So that's good for them. Thanks. Teresa, College Station, Texas, KE5QX. First album you bought, Teresa.
Oh, this is KE5MUX. And, I can't tell you the album, but it was probably either Garth Brooks or Clint Black. I couldn't tell you which album it was, but it was probably one of those two artists. Go ahead with my question.
Or somebody might say, yeehaw, woohoo. Your question is, what does the Japanese word chindogu mean? Chindogu, C-H-I-N-D-O-G-U. It's a noun. A, a dog that's happy to see you. B, the second cousin of Pokemon. Or C, a silly but not altogether useless invention.
I'm gonna go C on that one. Take me to the next, Alex. 730 KE5MUX.
Chihuahua, Teresa. Yeah, you got it. It's a silly but not altogether useless invention. Like that baseball cap that holds 2 cans of beer you can drink from with the tube. perfect example. Thanks, Teresa. Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2JPQ. Frank, the first music album you purchased, do you remember?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody listening to the net. The first album, kind of embarrassed, but it was Ohio Express, 1968. So I'm ready for my question. Back to you.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love in my tummy. You can't get lyrics like that these days. It's too bad. Frank, your question is, what does the Yiddish word for Popschket mean? F-A-R-P-O-T-S-H-K-E-T, for Popschket. It's an adjective. A, something that's broken specifically because someone tried to fix it. And B, the tradition of marrying off the oldest daughter first. Or C, a bagel that's smothered with mustard and cream cheese schmear. God, that's a sin. Which of those is true, Frank?
I don't have a clue, Alex. I'm going to say bravo. I'll tell you, have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. Good job. And back to KC2JPQ.
Well, you're in New York, so I was hoping, but then you're in Lancaster. You're not in Manhattan. And it's a Yiddish word for Popschket means A, something that's broken specifically because someone tried to fix it. Or as we say in non-Yiddish, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thanks, Frank. Thanks for being there, buddy. Don in Kennewick, Washington, and Dorothy, if she's there, KI7ZRI. Hey guys, what was the first music album you purchased?
There, Alex, and everyone on that. This is Don and Dorothy here in Kennewick, Washington. You know what? As a die-hard metalhead, I have to admit, my first album was a cassette. Prince, Purple Rain. I played that tape so much that the lettering on the tape just wore off. And actually, still to this day, I love Prince. I love Purple Rain. And even so much like a few months ago, Dorothy bought me a Purple Rain touring shirt, which I wear around the house. Give me that question.
I tell you, man, as few people could play the guitar as good as that guy. He's incredible. You saw his performance at the, I think it was at the Grammy Awards. He did the version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps and just knocked it out of the park. Your question is, what is Poland called in Polish? A, Polska. B, Polanski. C, the old country.
Alex, I'm going to go with Beta, and you're right about my guitar gently weeps. Look that up on YouTube if anyone out there has not checked it out. Thanks for doing that. Dorothy, I've been gone a couple of weeks. It's great to be back to that. KI7ZRI.
Don, I missed the answer again. Was it A or B? Polska, Polanski?
Sorry, B. Whatever you said for B, Polanski.
Close. That's the last name a lot of people use, I think. Poland in Polish is called Polska. Polska, P-O-L-S-K-A. So if you ever go there, now you're prepared. Well, no, you need to learn a few other phrases like, where's the nearest restroom, and where's the closest cafe, and how much do you charge, young lady? Thanks. Ray in Cody, Wyoming, KJ7RVB. Ray, what's the first music album you purchased?
And I still have it, Led Zeppelin 1, 1969, when I was 9 years old. I'd been getting 45s before that, but it was my birthday, and I asked for that album. My parents had absolutely no idea who these long hairs from Great Britain were, but I got the album, and I still have it today. What's my question, sir?
I think we had a communications breakdown there, Ray, but I did get that. Yeah, when I bought my second album I bought was Led Zeppelin 2, and then my mother, she didn't like that one too much. After the CCR album, I can understand why. Your question is, what is wine called in Italian? Wine in Italian. A, vino. B, vici. C, salute.
Having drank myself through Italy many times, I'm going to have to go with vino. Good night, sir.
I'd say Sinara. Yeah, that's it. Vino. Vino is what you call wine in Italian. Thanks. Thanks, very glad you can make it, buddy. It's a W7FTM. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector. Let's see, station KC5JLD. I'm not sure if that's right or not. If it is or isn't, come back with the correct call sign, or if it is. Are you there? Okay, well, maybe later. Fred Reno, KK7OGC. Fred, the first music album you ever purchased.
Hey, Alex, and thank you, Vicky, and thank you for the net. It was Black Sabbath Paranoid, and my parents, because I kept playing it over and over again to write down the words, because it didn't have the words, and the insert. And the second one was Jethro Tull Aqualung. Anyway, back to you, Alex.
Oh yeah, that one would drive your parents crazy. At Aqualung, though, what a great album. I won't go into that because, as everybody painfully knows, that's my favorite group, Jethro Tull. But your question, Fred, boy, a lot of wind outside with my signals fluctuating. I might have to the node. What was the name of Edith's family in the television series All in the Family? Edith's family, was it A, the Griswolds, B, the Jeffersons, or C, the Bunkers?
Well, that's an easy one. I'm going to go with Charlie on that one. Anyway, thank you, Alex, and everyone listening. KK7OGC, Fred and Reno, back to you.
Oh, I thought I might catch somebody with that. They'd say the Jeffersons, but you're right. Edith, of course, was married to Archie. It was a Bunker. Thanks. Thank you, Fred. Mark in Fairbanks. KL5XP. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the Trivia Net. And what was the first music album you purchased? KL5XP, or anything close if I got the call sign wrong. You're up. Okay, maybe later. We're getting close to the end of this section anyway. Jason in Oakville, Ontario. VA3EFJ. Jason, that's the first music album you purchased. Let me think. The Guess Who? No. Alanis Morissette. No, Neil Young. I'm sorry. What do you say, Jason?
Well, good evening to you and everyone else listening. If memory serves me correct, my first album, I think, was Metallica Black, and still love it to this day.
Metallica Black, Jason, gotcha. Oh yeah, that's quite a good, popular album too. Did you like how I named off all the Canadian groups when I first asked? Yeah, never mind. Okay, which brand of gasoline has a dinosaur for its mascot? Hopefully that's in Canada too. Which brand of gasoline has a dinosaur for its mascot? Is it A, Dick's Gasoline, B, Exxon, or C, Sinclair?
Yeah, I did notice that. I liked how you named off a couple Canadian there. That's B or C, I believe. We'll go with Charlie. And thank you for doing that. And thank you to, I think you said Victoria, for logging it.
Yeah, I think she beat the last person who called her Victoria to a pulp. I'm not sure about that, but maybe not. Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure she doesn't care. That's Vicky. Thanks. And you are correct. Yeah, it was Sinclair is the brand of gasoline that has a dinosaur for its mascot. Unfortunately, like the dinosaurs, they're kind of dying out. I think we only have one left, or two left here in the Phoenix area, but they're still around, privately owned. Thank you, Jason. David in Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. David, first music album you purchased?
Good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. Pink Floyd's The Wall. And speaking of Pink Floyd, I was at the thrift store the other day, and I bought a piece of art. It was a picture of a garden that Robert plants and Roger waters.
Indeed. Thank you, David. That your question is, I'm trying to think that album you listened to, if it was, I shouldn't go there. In 1991, this party took 16 seats in the Polish Parliament. 16 seats this party took. A, the Communist Party. B, the Polar Bear Party. Or C, the Beer Drinkers Party.
Well, if I lived there, I probably would have been a part of a theater, but I'm trying to remember my history on Poland, and so I'm just going to guess and say Alpha. Thanks for doing that, Alex. I'll catch you next week, W9, DWH.
Well, I think by then they'd kicked out most of their communists, if I remember correctly, but it was, no, in 1991, the Beer Drinkers Party took 16 seats in the Polish Parliament. The Beer Drinkers Party, yep. Unfortunately, after taking the seats, they kept falling off them, but what the hey, I mean, what a great name for a party. Thanks. Thank you, David. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio. Hello, Bob, WDAPIC. First album you purchased, what was it?
Well, that's a complicated one, because I didn't have my own money for a long time. My parents bought me, I would express an interest in an artist, and they would just buy me the album. So the first album that I personally purchased was the Greatest Hits of Chicago. I'm not into some of the heavier artists that they talked about. I'm a David Gates and Bread, Seals and Croft, Carpenters, Chicago, stuff like that. You know, I'm into the light, and my parents grew up with Nat King Cole, Jack Jones, Tony Bennett, Perry Como, you know, stuff like that. So Johnny Mathis. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. Frank Sinatra. Anyway, you get the idea. So I love that stuff too. Even I'm 63, but still, I love that stuff. And anyway, back to Nat for a question.
Well, I have to admit to liking the Carpenters also, only because of Carol Carpenter's voice. It's the best female voice I think I've heard anywhere, and I know a lot of people debate that, but besides their version of the Leon Russell song Masquerade, probably the best one out there. I mean, what a nice piece of music. Anyway, your question is, Russian dressing was invented in A, Russia, B, France, C, New Hampshire.
I don't have a clue, so I'm going to go with C, which I can't. And that was the reason why I chose it, because I can't. And also, I could never talk to a Mexican, because if he said, "Sí, senor," I'd have to say, "I can't, senor." Oh, I love playing around with words. And have you ever heard Karen Carpenter's version of Ticket to Ride? I like that one too. I mean, I like the original as well, but I like her version of it. Go ahead.
Bob, I'll have to check that out now. The Beatles version was okay, but few people know what it's actually about. See, how can I say this over the radio? When they were playing clubs in Germany, they would meet the girls there that were working, you know, on the streets outside, and the German health department gave them, they have to carry cards to show that they were healthy, and that was considered the ticket to ride, but that, probably too much information. All right, Bob, you're actually correct. Yeah, it's the New Hampshire. Russian dressing was invented in New Hampshire. Inventor James Colburn, no, not that one, called it Russian dressing because the original recipe included caviar. And so that's how about that, New Hampshire. Thanks, Bob. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4BR. First music.
Ray Stevens' album, Surely You Joust, on cassette. The first one I probably had, I think, was Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas album on 8-track. But anyway, I think that's reasonably correct.
Yeah, I forgot about Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's, oh, Ray Stevens was hilarious, but no, my parents bought me that album when I was a kid because I liked Disney like most little kids did, and so I can't say that it's one that I bought, but nonetheless. All right, Ray Stevens and some of that stuff. Okay, right. Your question is, the major export of Liechtenstein is A, maps showing where the hell the country is, B, beer, or C, false teeth. What is Liechtenstein export?
Well, like the previous gentleman said, I have no idea, but I'm going to go with B, Bravo. I'll turn it back to you, AC4BR.
Yeah, they've got good beer too. It's false teas. They're really good at making false teas in Liechtenstein, and that's their major export. Come on, Brian, everybody knows that. Extra point, buddy. Hope to hear you next week. W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're going next to Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KF6HDJ. Brent, first music album you purchased?
Oh, good evening, Alex. And I wanted to chime in and laugh and say that knowing that this was Trivia Net, I would have gone with a beer party too. So, anyways, I don't actually remember the first album I got, so Baxter Bat helping me out, and he just says, "Tell a Meatloaf, bat out of hell, they'll believe you." On to my question.
Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Boy, they played on the radio a lot too when I was a teenager. And your question is 50% of Americans who earn $100,000 or more annually are A, classical music fans, B, rap music fans, C, country music fans.
Boy, I have no idea. I should say classical music fans. I'll go with Charlie. And back to net control. KF6HDK.
Well, you put that in there because you should say classical music fans. That's what people would think. But you're right, it's country music fans. 50% of 1,000 or more annually are country music fans. They generally do pretty well. Well, maybe not the folks in Texas, but just kidding, Teresa. Thank you, Brett. You got it. Craig in Oakland Park, Florida, K4 MMX. Welcome back. Question of the night, the first music album you purchased.
Good evening, everybody. The first music album I ever purchased was Asia on cassette in 82 or 83. Ready for my question?
You know what? Have the idea or go there. In college, in the dorms, that's all you would hear is Asia being played all through everybody's stereo. So, all right, your question is, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Robert E. Lee are all related to this actor. A, John Wayne, B, Lee Marvin, or C, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, I'm going to rule C out because of, well, I'll get into it on the radio. And between A and B, I'm thinking B, kind of a guess. Okay, Bart, I'm the next back to net. Tell me if I won.
Well, look, if she can be Jewish, she can probably be white too, right? I'm just saying. You're correct. Lee Marvin. Yeah, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Robert E. Lee are all related to Lee Marvin. And actor Robert Duvall is also related to Robert E. Lee, so there you go. He's one of my favorite actors. And I probably mentioned this before, but do you know that he held the cue cards for Marlon Brando in The Godfather? To get an actor like Brando, you make concessions, I guess, but yeah, he had him taped to his shirt, the cue cards for Brando. And whenever it was Brando's turn to talk, when they were standing together, he'd open up his jacket so Brando could read the lines. And then when the camera went to say his lines. Oh, well, look how good the movie did. I mean, it's the highest rated movie in history. The Godfather is. Thanks, Craig. Alan in Lubbock, Texas, N7 WZI via the text line. First music album you purchased, Alan? Alan in Lubbock, Texas, N7 WZI. Are you there, buddy?
KF4ACB in Harrogate, Tennessee.
Well, hang on there, Tennessee. We're just almost ready to ask for new check-ins. We got 2 more to go here. Let me try one more time for Alan, and we'll have to move on. And like I said, we're getting close to calling again. N7 WZI.
Go quiet in here.
Yeah, my first album was Beach Boys album.
You said there's a net getting ready to come on.
Ready for the next question.
Said.
The Beach Boys, yes. Which, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the album. Which one was it again?
The Beach Boys, Little Deuce Coupe album.
Okay, got it that time. Thanks, Alan. Your question is, speaking of Whoopi Goldberg, actor-comedian Whoopi Goldberg is A member of the John Birch Society, B, a member of the Republican Party, C, a member of the National Rifle Association. Believe it or not, one of those is true. What do you think, Alan?
By the craziest one, the National Rifle Association.
That she is, or was. I guess she still is. A lot of people on the left joined the NRA just to say that they're familiar with weapons, and they, it's kind of a ruse, but people see through it these days. But nonetheless, yeah, she's a member of the NRA, so you got it, Alan? Okay, Andrew in Glen Burnie, Maryland, K6 ADS. First music album you purchased, Andrew? Try it again, Andrew. K6 ADS. That's okay, no, Andrew, for now, but we'll come back to you. Let's take our check-ins now for the Serenade Trivia Net. Full call sign, phonetically, twice please.
This is Kilo Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray Bravo. Kilo Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray Bravo. This is November 7, Foxtrot Golf Papa. November 7, Foxtrot Golf Papa. Scott in Houston.
Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf. Kilo India 7, Lima Alpha Golf. November 5, Whiskey Mike Juliet.
Alpha, Victor Kilo 3, Alpha, Whiskey Alpha, Paradise Beach.
Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform KI5 WW Lynn
Okay, hold up. Let us get caught up. We have KI5DXB, N7FGP, Scott in Houston, KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, N5WMJ, Terry in Baytown, Texas, VK3AWA, Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia, and Lynn in Houston, KI5 and WWU. First, let's try for Andy and Glen Burnie again, K6 ADS. Are you there, Andy? All right, next up we have a KI5DXB, Vanessa in Converse, Texas. Question of the night, what was the first music album you purchased? Are you with us, Vanessa?
Would that be KJ5DXB, Frank in Sugarland?
Vanessa, what happened to your voice? Yeah, how you doing, Frank? KJ5DXB. Sorry about that, Frank. What was the first music album you purchased?
KJ5DXB, good evening to you, Alex, Vicky, and everybody. No problem. I'd say the first album, if I remember correctly, would be Leonard Skinner, pronounced Leonard Skinner. Back to you, sir, ready for the question.
Give me 3 steps for the door, Frank, and we'll never see you no more. Okay, your question is, in the movie Spinal Tap, in the movie This Is Spinal Tap, every single one of the tour cities in the group, that the group supposedly played at, were all filmed in A, Los Angeles, B, Chicago, or C, Mexico. What do you say, Frank?
Got no idea on that one, so we'll just go with B, Bravo on that one. Thanks for the question, Alex. Have a good evening. KJ5DXB, back to you.
Now, what they did was, the entire movie was filmed in Los Angeles. All the scenes and everything they were supposedly go to, the different cities and towns, that was all LA. If you look closely when the band is supposed to be in New York, you'll see palm trees in the background, so I don't think that's New York. So Muggers maybe, but no, I'm sorry, New York. Of course, we're talking Los Angeles here, not much difference other than the palm trees. Thanks, Frank. Scott in Houston, N7FGP. How you doing, buddy? What was the first music album you purchased?
Well, good evening, Alex, and everyone on the net. I think Wilt WB7VPI was right behind me and doubled with Patrick. But my first album, my mom let me, I don't know why I remember this so well, but in 1966, I was 6, my mom let me purchase my first 2 albums. The first one was the soundtrack to the Batman television show, which I loved. And the second one was A Hard Day's Night. And then she also let my sister purchase the Nancy Sinatra Boots album, which I hated. So there's that. Ready for a question.
Well, you're not alone, Scott. The Nancy Sinatra album is considered the worst album ever released in a poll by everybody. So anyway, your question is, okay, people used to keep their refrigerators outside the house because A, they were too darn noisy, B, they took up too much space. Early refrigerators were large. Or C, the toxic gases they contain would sometimes leak and kill people when they the fridges outside.
Geez, I'm gonna go with Alpha on that. Thanks for doing the net tonight. N7FGP.
Checking my sources, and you see Alpha C. It's yeah. They kept their refrigerators outside because the toxic gases they contain would sometimes leak out of the fridge and kill people. Yeah, the early refrigerators had ammonia, methyl chloride, and sulfur dioxide, which is not something you want to inhale. So thanks. Thank you, Scott. KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. First music album you purchased.
First album, gosh, would have been Kiss, Crazy Nights. Go ahead with your question.
Can I do that Kiss joke? Okay. Yeah, probably not. Patrick, your question is, in 2001, Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo escaped from prison in this. A sewage pipe that ran under the prison. Where have I seen that before? B, a dirty laundry basket. Or C, a hot air balloon. How did he get out of prison?
El Chapo may have tried to escape while he was taking a crapo. I'm going to go with a Alpha. KI7LAG.
You know that pipe that Andy called supposed to be filled with excrement was actually filled with chocolate syrup. Yeah. El Chapo though escaped in a dirty laundry basket. Yeah, he wasn't a very large man. He just jumped in there and they tossed the laundry on him and he got out. But his escape cost him $2.5 million in bribes. No wonder it worked. Most of the guards of the prison, or even the warden, and even the warden, are probably still serving time for taking those bribes. Yeah, they threw them in prison. Thank you, Patrick. Terry, Baytown, Texas, N5WNJ. Welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. What's the first music album you purchased, Terry?
Well, the first one would be The Temptations' Wish It Would Rain from 1968. And back to you with my question.
Isn't that Kenny Rogers' original? No, wait, that was the Association. Anyway, I got my roots mixed up. Your question is, all right, now maybe you've noticed this or not, or maybe I'm the only one strange enough to have noticed this, but according to Hollywood, if you're a crackpot inventor who's actually a genius, your ambitions won't be realized until you invent A, a love potion, B, a time machine, or C, a breakfast making machine.
Ooh, I don't have any idea on that, but I will go with B, Bravo, and back to you.
Yep, that's the runner-up, because a lot of great time machines all the way back to the Time Machine in 62, I think it was. Great movies, but lately it's been, you got to invent a C, a breakfast-making machine. It shows the crackpot inventor doing one of those first, and then they then they create the Time Machine and wherever else. The movies like Back to the Future had one, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Flubber all had mad scientists or brilliant scientists that created the breakfast making machines first. So that, how's that for obscure trivia? Thanks, thank you, Jerry. Daryl, Paradise Beach, Australia, VK38WA8, welcome back. What's the first music album you ever purchased? Midnight Oil? Yeah, maybe not.
Good afternoon, Alex and listeners. I don't particularly like Midnight Oil, Alex, but I do like Jethro Tull. I'm with you on that one. First album was Sgt. Pepper's, the Beatles. Back to you, Alex.
The Beatles, yeah, that's, that was my wife's first time. She was normal, I wasn't, but, of course the Beatles albums, they cost a little bit more than, everyone else's albums at the time, but, alright, your question is, where does the Milky Way galaxy get its name? Ever wonder where they come up with that? Was it A, shepherds looking up at the night sky after milking their sheep? B, a Greek myth about Hera pushing baby Hercules off her breast and her milk spraying out to form the galaxy. Or C, a popular candy bar. So where does the Milky Way get its name originally, Daryl?
I would see, Alex. It seems something like that. So bizarre will be the answer, over.
I think he said B, and that is bizarre, and that is correct. Yeah, the Milky Way got its name, or the Milky Way galaxy got its name by a Greek myth about Hera pushing baby Hercules off her breast and her milk spraying out to form the galaxy. The Greeks are so kinky, you gotta love them. I think it's actually pretty clever. But anyway, you got it. Thanks, Daryl. Lynn in Houston, KI5WWU. First music album you purchased, Lynn.
Good evening, Alex and Vicky. Thanks for running the net. Always entertaining. KI5WW, Lynn in Houston. The first one was going to be what is the Monkees original album in 1966 when I was 10 years old. So back to you, sir.
Hey, good music and good music when we were that age. We didn't have friends to tease us about it. You know, when I got older and had a Monkees album, my one buddy says, "What's the matter with you? A teeny bopper?" And of course I had to stop listening then, but actually I didn't really. I kept listening to the Monkees. Your question, Lynn, is the Swedish meatballs that IKEA serves at its cafeteria, A, contain only 50% beef, B, contain horse meat, or C, travel a confusing maze-like path through your digestive system before reaching your colon. What about those IKEA Swedish meatballs? Is this correct?
Interesting question. I'll go with Charlie. Thanks for running the net. Back to you. Have a good one. KI5WWU.
Yeah, I put that in there as a joke, but come to think of it, that's probably right too. Okay, let me change that. I gotta give you that one. Actually, what we're looking for is the meatballs that IKEA serves as cafeteria. At least last heard, maybe they've changed it by now, contained horse meat. Independent testing found trace amounts in 2013. Yeah. By the way, the CEO of IKEA was recently elected by the cabinet, so we're looking Bill from Gresham, Oregon. Yeah, I glad you can do the world. What's the first Oh, well, I know you have trouble reaching the repeater and everything, but turn on the linear and then try it again, and we miss that. Too much path noise. I know I'm having trouble. Okay, well, we'll carry on then, and almost sounds like a Weird Al album parody, which by the way, the Nirvana Smells Like Nirvana parody of Weird Al, I think is the best ever done. I know somebody mentioned another one, and it's not the highest rated, but I think it's the best one. Anyway, well, your question is, we'll try this and hopefully it'll work. According to Bob Dylan, the ragman draws circles up and down the block. I'd ask him what the matter was, but I know A, he'd rather walk, B, that he don't talk, or C, he has a Glock. What's the ragman got there, or do I will? Right then, try it again, Will. All right, well, I was able to pull Bravo out of that, and that's correct. Yeah, that's the lyric. The lyric is, the ragman draws circles up and down the block. I'd ask what the matter was, but I know he don't talk. So it's, of course, from Stuck Inside a Mobile with the Memphis Blues again on the Blonde on Blonde Bob Dylan album. Thank you. Thank you, Will. I appreciate you knowing obscure lyrics. All right, taking more check-ins for the Saturday Night Trivia. Ned, full call, phonetically, twice, please.
Kilo Delta 6 Delta India Quebec. Kilo Delta 6 Delta India Quebec.
Kilo Charlie 5 Charlie Zulu X-ray KC5CZX.
We're ACB Kilo Foxtrot 4 Alpha Charlie Bravo in Tennessee.
Looks like we picked up 3 more people. This is Todd in Yucca Valley, KD6DIQ, KC5CZX, Daryl in Lubbock, and KF4ACB, Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee. All right. Question of the night is, what was the first music album you purchased, Todd, in Yucca Valley? What was it?
I have no idea, but I'm going to go with Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon. How's that sound?
Yeah, hard to top Dark Side of the Moon. On the top 100 Billboard selling album list for, I think, 14 years, I believe it was, or maybe 12. Anyway, that's amazing. Okay, your question is, Physicians Weekly reported in 1998 that a 19-year-old man with severe OCD attempted to cure himself of the mental disorder by A, watching 87 straight hours of the Dr. Phil show. Ouch. B, having relations with as many partners or hitting himself in the head. How do you try to cure his OCD there, Todd?
I got the Dr. Phil out of that, but I didn't get the rest. You're breaking up, or there's some sort of static in your transmitter.
Okay, let's try over here. And the answers are, hope you got the question, A, watching 87 straight hours of the Dr. Phil show, B, having relations with as many partners as possible, or C, shooting himself in the head. What did the 19-year-old guy do to cure himself of OCD?
Heard you perfectly that time. I would say watch the Dr. Phil show. It sounds the stupidest one, but maybe he's watching the Dr. Phil show. KD60IQ. Final answer. I think that's A.
Well, most people that would drive crazy, but maybe in his case it corrected it. No, I don't mean crazy. You know what I mean? Mentally disturbed. No, actually, he shot himself in the head to cure his OCD. Although most of us would prefer answer B, the young man shot himself in the head with a .22 caliber pistol. Oddly enough, they cured him of the disorder by destroying the part of the brain responsible for obsessive compulsive disorder, and it did not damage his intellectual capacity at all. Sounds like the last scene in Fight Club. Of course, don't try this at home. Thanks. Thank you, Todd. From Lubbock, KC5CZX. Daryl, first music album you purchased?
Well, sir, you're going back a whole bunch of years, but I do believe that would be Casey and the Sunshine Band. That's a long time ago. KC5CZX.
Dual dance, shake a little tail. Dual, yeah. Sorry, it's been too long. Your question is, in Spain in 2021, a man dived into an opening in a sculpture to retrieve his lost cell phone, but got trapped inside and died. What was it a sculpture of that he dived into? A, the Pope, B, a large cell phone, or C, a dinosaur?
Well, I'll say dinosaur. Seems a more reasonable answer.
Ironic if it would have been a giant cell phone that he dived into, but you're correct. Yeah, it was a dinosaur. He dived into a sculpture of a dinosaur that had an opening in the back, and he got trapped. And, well, unfortunately, it was a stegosaurus to be exact. They didn't find him for several days until, the odor. Thanks, Daryl. Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee, KF4 ACB. First music album you purchased, Terry?
This is K Operation Z-Head or Terry, either one. That's a good question. I'm 70 years old and I've got a huge record collection. But I believe the first one I bought was Suitable for Framing by the Three Dog Night.
Yeah, what a great group. I mean, they sung songs that other people wrote, but they did it so well. Mama Told Me Not to Come, which Randy Newman wrote, of course. They did an excellent job of it. But, okay, your question is, think back for this one, country folk singer Glenn Campbell was a lineman for A, AT&T, B, the county, or C, the Arkansas Razorbacks?
I'm going to attempt to do this. I am a lineman for the county.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm glad to see you have an excellent voice like I do and sing that perfectly, and that's it, yeah. Lineman for the county. Thanks for remembering the song. I wasn't sure anyone would. Okay, so W7FTM. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector. More check-ins. Phonetically twice, please.
AQ4BPZ, Kilo Quebec 4, Bravo, Papa Zulu. Good evening to you, Alex.
W9JAY, Whiskey 9, Juliet Alpha Yankee.
Well, welcome Ralph in Miami, KQ4BPZ, and welcome back Jay in Sealy, Texas, W9JAY. Good to talk to you guys again. And the question of the night, what was the first music album you purchased? Album, not 45, although you can mention the 45 if you want. Ralph in Miami, what say you?
The first record I purchased. My parents were cheap. My sister was older. She got to buy cassettes back in the early 80s. I think it was Rio by Duran Duran, and I thought it was pretty cool. I still like the Duran Duran. I know they're a little effeminate for some folks' taste, but I think it still holds up for me, Alex.
A very catchy song, and as you probably know, Duran after a character in Barbarella, which was also interesting. We talk about drug use in Hollywood. Your question, Ralph, is North Korea. Make sure you don't wear this. A Make America Great Again hat. B, a leather jacket. Or C, Nike shoes. That's a tough one, Ralph. It could be one of those, but think carefully. Make America Great Again hat, leather jacket, or Nike shoes. Not to be worn in North Korea.
I'm going to go with Nike shoes. Not that anybody can afford them or get them there, but I'm going to go with Charlie, see.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Actually, in North Korea, don't wear a leather jacket. It's because Kim Jong-un wears one and doesn't want anyone to copy his cool look. That's right, they'll actually pull you over and make you take your leather jacket off, which is hopefully all they'll do to you. So, just good advice, Ralph. I know you're planning to go to North Korea fairly soon, so it's good to know that. Thanks for checking in, buddy. Jay in Sealy, Texas, of course, W9JAY. First music album you purchased, Jay?
Oh, I didn't realize I got through. I don't know. I was trying to think. Something by the Beatles, I think. Meet the Beatles or something. I'm not exactly sure. Hey, Alex, good to talk to you.
All right, Jay, your Beatles it is. Your question is, which animal's name comes from the ancient Greek for horse of the river? Horse of the river. What are the Greeks talking about? A, water buffalo. B, the wildebeest. Or C, the hippopotamus.
Well, the obvious obvious answer is hippopotamus, but I'm guessing that's not the correct one. But I'll go with that. Why not? See.
Jay, every now and then, the obvious one is correct. Yeah, you got the hippopotamus. That's Greek from horse, Greek for horse of the river. Now, I didn't know that, but everybody else seems to. But anyway, you got it, buddy. Thanks for checking in. Okay, anybody else want to check into the Saturday Night Trivia Net? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo November 6, Sierra Delta Zulu, Mike in San Jose. Good evening, y'all.
Oh, Mike, you might be in tonight. KN6SDZ, Mike in San Jose. What was the first music album you purchased, buddy?
I'm 63 from Boston, so I got Jay Giles band. I think it was Jay Giles' greatest hits. They were local Boston, yeah.
Angel is a centerfold. What? Good music. Have the right band. I think it's it. All right, Mike, your question is, actor Anthony Hopkins is also an accomplished A, painter, B, confectioner, or C, rap artist.
The name, I got something, and a confectionist, a rap artist.
Yep, or a painter, Anthony Hopkins. What do you think?
Sure. I just guess a painter.
Yeah, he's actually quite good. As a matter of fact, some of Anthony Hopkins' paintings have sold for over $80,000. It's really nice artwork. I've seen some of it, and unlike a certain former First Son's money laundering scheme, Hopkins' paintings are actually good. So I don't know who I'm talking about. Thanks, Mike. Anybody else want to check in? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Yankee Uniform November, KG5, YUN, Jeb and Willis.
All right, Jip, we'll take them one at a time, as long as we can get them. KG5 YUN, the first music album you purchased. Can you remember that far back, or was it that long ago?
Okay, you were a little quick on the draw on the question. Say that question again. Maybe a little bit slower. KG5, why you in?
No problem. I'm on amateur radio. I keep forgetting to slow down a little bit. The question of the night is, what was the first music album that you purchased?
The first album that I purchased, is that correct?
Yep, the first music album. Think back that you actually paid cash for and went to a store and bought.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, forgive me for being persistent. There was a little bit of dropouts here and there. The first album that I purchased, it was on cassette tape, and the Beastie Boys, License to Ill. I'm almost certain right now I could still quote the entire song, Paul Revere.
Yeah, I had a buddy in high school who was a Beach Boys fanatic, and he insisted on going to the concert at the, what was that place we used to go to in Phoenix to see them when they showed up. And, yeah, actually it wasn't a bad concert. I was kind of surprised. They're a good live band. They sound like they do in the album when they play live. Not all groups can claim that. Oh, Celebrity Theater is where it was. Like Led Zeppelin, they're a great studio band, but I heard them live. Not so much. All right, Jeb, your question is, who said, if there is anyone here among you who wishes to kill his emperor, here I am. Was that A, Julius Caesar, B, Napoleon Bonaparte, or C, Nancy Pelosi?
All right, my choices of murderers is going to be narrowed down to two. All right, one more time. Give me my question and my my assailants.
This famous person said, if there is anyone here among you who wishes to kill his emperor, here I am. A very gutsy person. Was that A, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, or Nancy Pelosi? Come on now, Jeb. It's probably only one of two. Take a shot at it. Does it take that long to Google the answer? Are you still with us, Jeb? Well, I guess we lost him, so credit for a check-in, and if he does come back, I'll give him a different question. By the way, that was Napoleon Bonaparte who said, if there's anyone here among you who wishes to kill his emperor, here I am. Brave, very brave dude. You know, anyway, the taking check-ins, Trivia Net, we'll keep trying. Full call sign phonetically 12.
Whiskey 2, Hotel, Uniform, Romeo, W2HUR, Russ in Phoenix.
Okay, Russ in Phoenix or Peoria, I guess to be exact, W2HUR. Hey, glad you can make it, buddy. The question tonight is, what was the first music album you purchased?
Well, I'll give you both. The first 45 was, and I'll quiz you, the name of the song was Gimme Gimme. Actually, I think it was Crazy Elephant or something like that. And the first album was Neil Young, Harvest. Back to you, Net Control.
Oh yeah, the Harvest album. That was a nice song by the Canadian, even though we don't agree on too much else but his music. But yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to say my first 45, because I don't really remember it. I know I was young. It wasn't the Monkees. It may have been, let's see, what group was that way back? It wasn't Tommy Rowe. It may have been Sugar Sugar by the Archies. So yeah, that's why I don't mention it. Anyway, your question is, who was the first U.S. president to adopt the informal version of his name? Was it A, Jimmy Carter, B, Jack Kennedy, or C, Joe Biden?
I'm going to go with Carter.
Yeah, nicely done, Russ. That's correct. A lot of people think it was Jack Kennedy. No, we always went by John F. And Joe Biden wasn't the first. It was Jimmy Carter. You got it, buddy. Thanks for checking in, Russ. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Okay, anyone else want to check in? Full call sign phonetically twice, and we'll give you a question. Well, it looks like it's going to be all tonight. Let's see how we did. All right, 43 people checked in tonight. Very nice total, you guys. And the, let me see here, I wish I was better at working with spreadsheets. Hang on a second. There we go. 26 people got their questions correct. 13 people missed their questions, so still looks like twice as many got their questions correct and then got it wrong. Very good. As far as the question of the night, well, of course, the first music album you purchased was all over the place. Do we have a leader anywhere? Wow, they're all pretty much evenly split. I thought the Beatles would be up higher, but again, their albums cost more than other people's. But anyway, we'll figure it out later. Vicky will do the pie chart, and you can check it out, but it looks like a pretty even split all the way across the board. I thank everybody who participated tonight, with special thanks, of course, to Vicky, KE8VKY, for logging in the background, and N70K and John for use of his Mesa, Arizona repeater. We now return control of the ECR back to you until next week at the same time, when the control voice will take you to the Saturday Night Trivia. 73W7M. Good night.